Good to have you with us on this Sunday evening, coming to you live from Seoul. I'm Daniel Che. We learn again that North Korea is unable to communicate effectively with the world. Again, North Korea fires off missiles into the East Sea this Sunday. It's its second launch in just 4 days. The move is seen as an armed protest against U.S. South-Korea military drills, which is expected to begin on Wednesday. Our Kwon Soa starts us off.
North Korea fired 2 short-range ballistic missiles into the East Sea on Sunday, one at 1:20 a.m. and another at 1:30. This is its second launch in just 4 days. South Korea's Joint Chiefs of Staff believes the rockets to be Scud-C missiles, given they flew a distance of around 500 kilometers, which is the Scud-C's estimated operational range. The missiles were launched from the northern part of Kaesong City, just 20 kilometers from the border with the south. Usually, the North conducts missile launches from its eastern port city of Wonsan, around 130 kilometers from the military demarcation line. A Joint Chiefs of Staff official said Sunday that the launch took place 20 kilometers closer to the south than the Wednesday launch, adding that a test firing so close to the border is unprecedented. The South Korean military believes that Pyongyang wants to display its ability to launch projectiles whenever and wherever it wants to. The latest test firing is seen as an armed protest against annual U.S. South-Korea joint military exercises scheduled to take place beginning Wednesday. Pyongyang's National Defense Commission condemned the drills in a statement Saturday as the USS George Washington aircraft carrier arrived in the southern port city of Busan on Friday for the drills. Experts also believe the provocations come from concerns about the latest South Korea-China summit, as well as the recent U.S.-China business talks. Sunday's firings mark the 14th time North Korea has launched rockets in 2014, and it is the 6th ballistic missile launch this year. Kwon Soa, ARIRANG News.
And members of the New York State Legislature and City Council have urged Japan to take responsible and clear actions on the issue of its wartime atrocities. In a letter to the Japanese government, 4 lawmakers expressed hope that Japan would not revise the Kono statement, an official apology for the military's wartime brutalities, including its system of sex slavery. One of the 4, New York State Senator Tobianne Stavisky, said she hopes the Japanese government will continue to acknowledge the historical facts and reiterate their remorse to the victims. This comes amid Ed Royce, an 11-term U.S. congressman and the chairman of the House Committee on Foreign Affairs, voiced his concerns, saying it is very important that the Japanese government distance itself from the deniers of history, as they are doing a disservice to the next generation. There's just 1 day left before the ruling Saenuri Party selects a new chairperson and 4 members of its Supreme Council at a party convention Monday. Voting began at 9 a.m. this Sunday at 251 polling stations nationwide and ends tomorrow. The winners will be chosen via a combination of votes and a public opinion poll, with votes making up 70% of the result and the poll counting for the remaining 30%. 9 candidates are running for the chairperson post, and the 2 leading candidates, Kim Moo-sung and Seo Chung-won, each held press briefings Sunday, with both vowing to claim victory. Meanwhile, candidates for the July 30th by-elections have begun to gear up for the start of the official campaign period on July 17th, the first weekend after candidate registration ended Friday. Korea's global GDP ranking remained flat at 14th place. We are stuck there for the 5th straight year in 2013, reflecting the nation's slow growth trend. Our Hwang Ji-hye has the details.
The Korean economy seems like it has been losing its dynamism since the global financial crisis in 2008. The Bank of Korea said Sunday that the global ranking of the nation's gross domestic product remained unchanged at 14th place in 2013 for a 5th straight year. Korea's GDP stood at around $1.3 trillion last year. That's based on new international standards for calculating gross domestic product that involve adding contributions from new sectors like research and development. Experts say the nation's slow growth trend after the global financial crisis led the nation's ranking to stand pat. Asia's fourth largest economy, ranked at 12th in 2000 and managed to climb up to 10th in 2005. But it lost ground, landing in 14th in 2009 after the global economic crisis, and has remained the same since then. The United States topped the list at almost $17 trillion last year, followed by China with $9.2 trillion and Japan with $4.9 trillion. Countries that have seen their rankings drop over the past 5 years include Japan and European countries like Italy and Spain that were hit hard by the sovereign debt crisis. Hwang Ji, ARIRANG News.
On a more somber note, the search for people still missing from the sunken Sewol ferry resumed on Sunday following the passage of Typhoon Naguri, but no bodies have been retrieved from the submerged hull so far. The Korean government's crisis center said civilian, military, and Coast Guard divers conducted 4 underwater search operations for the missing early Sunday morning. 110 Navy, Coast Guard, and fishing boats were mobilized to expand the search to the waters around the site for any bodies that might have been swept away from the ship. 11 people remain unaccounted for in the April 16th sinking of the Sewol ferry off the country's southwest coast. 293 are confirmed dead, and the latest recovery of a body was on June 24th. Well, Koreans are sick. That's according to a recent survey, and they are sick for more than 10 years. This is coming from a latest report from the Korea Institute for Health and Social Affairs. They said on Sunday that a baby born in 2011 lives for an average 81.2 years, but added that he or she lives around 13% of that time suffering from illnesses. The life expectancy for men is 77.6 years with 8.8 years of illness, while that for women is 84.4 years with nearly 12 years of illness. Elsewhere around the world, Israel carried out overnight airstrikes against Gaza security headquarters and police stations in the heaviest bombardment since operations began on July 8th. This is the 6th day of airstrikes against sites in Gaza so far, with Gaza officials saying that at least 159 Palestinians have died. Israel also said that Palestinian militants fired about 90 rockets from the Gaza Strip into its territory on Saturday. Israel says it is targeting Hamas militants and facilities, but the United Nations estimates that 77% of those killed in Gaza have been civilians. The UN issued a statement Saturday calling for a ceasefire and peace talks, marking the first time the UN has stepped in since the Israeli offensive began. Hamas spokesman Sami Abu Zuri described the raid as a heinous crime, adding that Israel will pay a heavy price for its aggression against the Palestinian people. Switching over to sports, the World Cup is in its final stages now. Brazil's World Cup unfortunately ended on a low note as they yielded third place in this year's World Cup to Team Netherlands. It was looked to as a chance for home team Brazil to redeem itself after a humiliating 7-1 trouncing at the hands of the German squad. Unfortunately, in the third place playoff against the Orange, the only solace they had was in the fact that they didn't allow more than 3 goals. Brazil's captain and defensive stopper Thiago Silva tucked Arjen Robben down in the second minute, drawing a penalty and setting captain Robin van Persie up to score from the penalty spot just 3 minutes into the game. In the 17th, Daley Blind broke the hearts of home fans with another net scorcher, and Jorginho Wijnaldum sealed the deal with a third goal. Soccer fans in Korea are likely to have a sleepless Sunday with the final match between Argentina and Germany coming up at 4 a.m. Monday, Korea time. Argentina may have the world's most recognized and celebrated star in Lionel Messi, but Germany is a well-oiled football machine and has been playing like a team possessed so far in this World Cup. Switching over to other stories, the proportion of young people in Korea has dropped to its lowest level ever, and most of them are not happy with the education system. Our Son Jung-in takes a look at the current situation of the youth population here in Korea.
1 in 5 Koreans is young, a reference to people between the ages of 9 and 24 as defined by Korean law. The youth population in Korea has been on the decline since it peaked at 37% in the late 1970s, and it dropped to its lowest level this year, according to recent data by Statistics Korea. What's more worrisome is that the rate is expected to fall even further to 16% in 2020 and to only 11% in 2060. However, despite the declining youth population, competition among students for grades and spots at elite schools still remains high. The data show that nearly 70% of Korean primary and secondary school students are dependent on private education to supplement their school classes. By age, elementary school students receive the most additional tutoring at more than 80%, followed by middle school and high school students. Perhaps this is a reason why far less than half of secondary school students feel satisfied with their school life. They find relationships with classmates as some of the positive factors at school, but most of them said they are displeased with the current education system. Another sad statistic is that 10 years ago, the biggest cause of death among young people was car accidents. Now, it is suicide. According to the report, 1 in 10 young Koreans said they have actually thought about committing suicide, with the main reasons being school grades, family troubles, and financial problems. 손정인, 아리랑 뉴스.
Now it's time for weather. Here in Seoul, Sunday proved to be another hot and humid one and quite the scorcher. Not the best time of the year in Korea unless you're heading for a dip in the pool or out to the beach. The sizzling summer conditions will continue through Monday, with the mercury easily passing the 30-degree mark in most parts of the nation. Time to look outside the nation for a check on the weather conditions in your neck of the woods and around the world. And that brings us to the end of this newscast. Thank you for being with us. For more, join us at 10 p.m. Korea time.